Coach Jimmy Searfoss, 247 Sports. There's a lot of recruits in the building today. What does a win like this in front of these fans say to those who are kind of sitting on the fence?
It says ain't hard to find. That's what it says. And the thing about it, you got to recruits analyze everything, because I analyzed stuff when I was a recruit. So they sitting out there seeing, understanding their position, saying to themselves, I could do that. I could play for them, and I could do that right now. And then the atmosphere on top of that, and you don't have to sell Boulder. Boulder sells itself. So we're not selling anything. We're not promising anything. We're just giving them an opportunity of a tremendous education and a tremendous opportunity to get to the next level, which is the NFL, if they come here and play for us. But it would be tough for me to turn this down if I were a recruit, especially if I'm the parent.
Time now for the Wiltfong Whiparound with our Director of Recruiting, Steve Wiltfong. You heard him. He said it's going to be tough to turn down. And once again, Colorado is the talk of the college football world following a home opening win over Nebraska. And Steve, you talked to some targets who were in Boulder. How much of an impression did Saturday have on their recruitments?
Massive, Emily. But first, I would imagine many of the folks that said Colorado wouldn't win 2 games under Coach Sanders and his first-year staff this year, they're now the ones saying Coach Sanders won't be in Boulder in 2 years. And when you're getting that kind of negative recruiting out there, it means that you have absolutely arrived. Some of the best prospects in America looking at Colorado right now. And if Deion Sanders and his staff can get the Bryce Underwoods and players of that caliber to play at Colorado, a place that is investing in winning, why would he have to leave Boulder? You heard him say it right there. Boulder sells itself. With night games coming up against Colorado State, a TBD kickoff against USC, we're going to see some of these best players in the country on campus. And he talked about this is a staff that can get you to the NFL. You got a terrific staff that he put together, and it's also an elite staff of recruiters. Deion Sanders, obviously the most charismatic guy in college football right now, but Charles Kelly, National Recruit of the Year last year as a defensive coordinator. Sean Lewis, very involved in recruiting. Tim Brewster is an elite recruiter. Sal Sinceri's won some battles. Nick Williams was one of the 2 or 3 top off-field recruiters during his time at Georgia and A&M. He's now on the field working at Colorado. And then a couple secret weapons for them. Corey Phillips and Darius Darden-Box are really crushing it for them off the field. But they had some visitors. It was a 10 a.m. kickoff, but they were still able to get some big-timers on campus. You had top 247 athlete Cameron Michael, who was in Colorado for the spring game in Boulder back in April, and his teammate Amontre Bradford also made an official visit, and talking to people that spent time with them, talking to Cam Michael, I think Colorado did an unbelievable job with both families. I think that they are excited about the excitement around the program. Cam Michael talked about a sellout crowd, the fans rushing the field, and then certainly the trajectory of the program. They've won 2 games, the opportunity to play in NFL for coaches that have a track record of sending guys to the league. And then one more thing that Cam Michael pointed out that I think really stands out, Emily, is the celebrities that he got to meet on campus and the chance to build his brand around people like that. Remember, Pete Carroll used to have a bunch of celebrities on USC's campus. I know that was Hollywood, but Deion Sanders has a lot of Hollywood-type friends, and they're invested. They're rallying around the program, and so there's going to be a lot of famous people on campus and the recruits like that. And then one other big name that was on campus was the number 1 player in Michigan, the number 1 athlete in the 2026 class, CJ Sadler. He is a dynamic player. When he touches the football, he's a touchdown waiting to happen. He said it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience to be at Deion Sanders' first home game at Colorado. He's looking to get back for the USC game. As we've talked about on past whip-arounds, Bryce Underwood, the number 1 quarterback in the country, is going to be there. They play 7-on-7 together. They have that great connection during the offseason, and Colorado made a move with CJ Sadler this weekend, one of the most exciting players in the country in the 2026 class.
I love that you mentioned the negative recruiting against Deion. All I hear is it's just more fuel. He's begging people to doubt him and turning that into an edge for his squad. And clearly things are working well. How about Miami? Also 2-0 after a huge win over Texas A&M. Plenty of targets in South Beach to take in arguably the biggest win of the Cristobal era so far. What did some of those prospects tell you about their experience?
Well, I talked to top 247 cornerback Jamari Howard, who I recently predicted to Florida State on the 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball. He said after watching the Hurricanes beat the Aggies, he feels like he can stay home. And that's a statement win for Mario Cristobal and company, showing their prospects that, hey, we are on an upward trajectory. We can win big games at the caliber that this program is accustomed to. And look, a lot of people made a big ado about the fact that Miami didn't pack that house with the fans that were in there. The passionate Miami fans that were in there made it as raucous an environment as you were going to find on Saturday. Daytona Beach mainland teammates LJ McCray and Xavier Mincy were there. LJ McCray is as important a target as there is left on Miami's board. Top 247 defensive lineman. They're battling Georgia, Florida, and Florida State. And this is just early equity. Recruiting's a game of inches. LJ McCray wants to see teams play this fall before he makes his final decision. He saw Florida State 2 weekends ago. He saw Miami this past week, and those were programs that I thought trailed Georgia, trailed Florida. But I think that both it showed him, hey, these are up-and-coming programs that play exciting on defense. Miami forced 3 turnovers. Miami showed these young playmakers on campus that we're going to air it out. We're going to be tough to stop. There's been a lot of DJ Durkin smear about his ability to call defenses. DJ Durkin's a good defensive coordinator. He just got beat by Shannon Dawson in Miami on Saturday. Why does one game have to all of a sudden make you awful? DJ Durkin's not bad. He just wasn't good on Saturday because Shannon Dawson and that Miami offense was ripping and roaring up and down the field with big play after big play. But there were just a lot of really talented 2025s and 2026s on campus. Coach Cristobal and company, they do a good job of offering players early. Got all those guys to campus, guys like Nashawn Montgomery, who is just a dynamic player, fun to watch. He's a receiver. He loved watching Miami air it out. Solomon Thomas, the offensive line is always going to be a point of emphasis for Mario Cristobal and company. They're in the thick of that one. They landed a commitment over the weekend there from Wade and Charles, who's also a dynamic in-state player. So already getting big returns from a big visit weekend, and they're hoping for some more.
Yeah, they got a commitment, another return. Also, you put in a crystal ball for one of their players. I'll tell you who that is in a second, but Steve, I got to ask the people for likes first. So go ahead, hit that like button, and we'll tell you about the prospect that I want to highlight from Miami's visit weekend. That's 2024 four-star edge Booker Pickett Jr. The Tampa native, he didn't really have to travel far to see this one, but clearly enjoyed himself as you put in a crystal ball pick for the Canes following that trip. So what has you leaning Miami here?
Yeah, teamed up on that crystal ball with Gabby Uridia, our excellent Miami insider down there inside the U. Look, I've been talking to his dad. Gabby's been talking to Booker. They loved what they saw. Again, this is a defense that was exciting. It's a program that's on the rise. And when I talked to Booker Pickett Sr., he said they had a great time at the game. It's refreshing to see his alma mater looking impressive. He said the atmosphere was electric, and he thinks that the performance showed the progress and improvement that the program is making. This is a guy that's had I think over 50 sacks the last 2 years. So he's one of the most dynamic pass rushers in the Sunshine State. And I like the way that this is trending for Miami after a couple big wins and one that they just saw in person.
All right, we talked about 2 teams with huge momentum to start the season in Miami and Colorado, but let's throw out a third, Texas. It's hard to underscore the massive win they just notched in Tuscaloosa, but one of Texas's top targets, 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo, actually spoke to you about that impressive win. What did he tell you?
Oh, man, he said that Texas was slinging it around, and they certainly were. He sees Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell and those guys eating big plays, Sanders, the tight end, and just the creativity that Coach Sarkisian has on offense and the way he schemes his players open, second to none in college football. I have a 24/7 Sports crystal ball on Ryan Wingo to Texas, logged that this summer as he was taking his official visits, and there's been times where I thought, maybe I don't love that pick. Maybe I like Missouri here. And we're certainly not discounting the Missouri Tigers for Ryan Wingo. I think Texas has got some momentum there. I know there's people around Austin that feel great about their position. And Ryan Wingo is going to be back in Austin this weekend for a night game, his first college game of the season. And I just think that the way Texas has recruited quarterbacks, Sarkisian's offense, and the way that receivers can be electric within that scheme over the course of his career calling plays has Texas in excellent position for Ryan Wingo.
Yeah, it makes it almost easier to recruit, too, when you can say, you see Worthy? You see Mitchell? That could be you. Let's move on from the college game. You took in some high school action over the weekend. IMG Academy visiting Ben Davis High School in Indianapolis. Now, IMG came away with the win 34-14, but one of the standouts in that game was four-star offensive lineman Jordan Seaton. He is currently uncommitted, but what's the latest with his recruitment?
Well, he told me that Alabama is his current leader, reiterating what he said after he took his official visit to Tuscaloosa during the summer. He pointed to how Alabama has a great track record of developing IMG offensive linemen, pointing to guys like Evan Neal, and then certainly just the culture of that program and one that produces great players year in and year out. Alabama set the tone, and he's also really connected with Coach Wolford over there. But this is a recruitment that's already had some ebbs and flows. I liked Ohio State early on. I thought that there was a time where Georgia made a move. I like Alabama right now, but Ohio State, they can come back around here and maybe win this. He's definitely going to take an official back to Ohio State. He's had some good interaction as of late with Ryan Day and then, of course, Justin Fry. Colorado's a program that he's got a keen eye on with the start that the Buffaloes have had. I wouldn't be surprised if he popped up in Boulder at some point before making a decision. I know he's excited about what Coach Sanders and company are doing. Oregon's another program that's making a late move. He's going to take an official visit out there. The only trip locked in right now, Emily, is Oklahoma at the end of September. And when he talks about Bill Bedenbaugh, you get the sense that he thinks Bill Bedenbaugh is the best offensive line coach in the country. Talked about his development of Trent Williams and so many guys that are in the NFL. Obviously, a couple of his IMG teammates are committed to Oklahoma, and David Stone, he had that 94-yard interception for a touchdown Stone did in the same game, and Jaden Jackson. So Oklahoma doing a terrific job at IMG. They'd love to add Jordan Seaton to that as well. And then you got Florida. Florida's in the middle of it. Florida State trying to make a push. So this is one where I think there's still a lot of schools in play. I think this one probably goes to the end. So I think we're going to be talking a lot about Jordan Seaton on the recruiting show and on Whiparound going into December.
Yeah, based on all the schools that you mentioned, sounds like this young man is taking his time, and certainly he can with the position that he plays and with all of those big-time programs after him. Steve, thank you so much. You're the best. You can read more of his work online at 247sports.com. And as always, I highly recommend you do this. Become a VIP member for all of that great exclusive information.